How do you know if you're sleeping with the enemy? And this is something that just recently I figure out that sometimes your enemy is closer to you than you think, and you don't realize it. That's what makes it so dangerous, because you can have someone that actually hates you. They hate you, and you think the opposite. You think that it's love or feelings, emotions, and no, they despise you. They hate everything about you, and you don't realize it. That's the danger. Because if you have an enemy that's external, you know they don't like you. They make it known that you're their enemy. So that's easy. You can see the enemy over there and they're plotting, but when that enemy is within your space, within your safe space, and they have access to all your weaknesses, all your vulnerable sides, they know everything that can be used to destroy you. That's the scary part, because on top of it being ignorant that this person is right next to you, they have all the weapons. They know your weapons. They know your weaknesses. They You're at their mercy because you don't even realize that they hate you. And this has been my recent experience with my spouse. I think she, throughout the years, for a variety of reasons, or maybe they've always been there and I just been blinded, because I wasn't thinking this way. But I think she developed this really bitter hate towards me. Just She just couldn't stand me, right? And I'm thinking everything is all right, and it wasn't. And I started first noticing a lot of what I'm speaking of when I sort of just was taken aback at how competitive she was with me, where it wasn't like this was my partner, or, we were working towards a goal together. It was more like if I had any kind of accomplishments, she needed to double that. If I did something that I thought was noteworthy, she had to triple that. It was never a satisfaction with me winning, right? Where I never felt that way. I always share with her accomplishments. I always try to support her, her goals and her dreams. And I, did whatever I could in my end to make sure that those happened. And I was very happy with her accomplishments. And I started noticing that it wasn't the same way around. I felt my accomplishments really made her uncomfortable. It made her feel as if she needed to top those. Um, I don't know if my accomplishments just inspire some kind of insecurity. I don't know. I haven't gotten to that part of like really going deep into why this was happening, because I've been in relationships before, in bad relationships, where everything from physical, physicality, like negative physicality in the relationship, all the way to lies and deceit and backstabbing and all of that. I've been in relationships that have been really, really destructive. I've been in other ones that haven't been so bad, but they had their negative aspects, but never to this extent of having someone that hates you, but instead of letting it be known and leaving you or whatever, they'll like just bite their tongue and they stay to just try to destroy you from within. I'm again speaking from my external view of the internal situation that I was going through. So, you're sleeping with the enemy within. Like, you have someone that lays next to you, plotting how they will beat you, how they will be better than you, but beyond the competitiveness, how if they can stop you from achieving more than them, they will devise a plan to make sure you don't achieve anything. And it took me so long to realize, because on top of this, I felt this person was really playing a number in my head. For years, I think, they implanted this idea that something was wrong with me, mentally and emotionally and all these. And they're like, oh, you were, PTSD, you were in the military, this, or you come from a broken home. And they start implanting these ideas because, you open up to these people about a lot of things that happen in your life, and they sort of use it against you to I started doubting me, and this is someone that I trust. So I'm thinking, they have my best interest at heart. So when they're telling me these things, I take them really, really into heart, and I take really hard consideration, and I take them as fact. And, for a long time, I started believing that something was wrong with me mentally. I was thinking, I need help, and I need some guidance and medication and all that. Like, you literally, it's almost like they implant this idea that starts eating away at you, and your own self becomes your own enemy, where now I'm doubting my cognitive and my emotional well-being and my mental well-being, my stability. And you have no idea, because since the source is supposed to be someone that loves you, you don't really question it. And so this went on and slowly just started eating away at me, and to the point that my actions started matching those actions of someone with mental issues. Like, it's just like my thought, I believed this so much that it became that. And, if you start believing something, you start acting that way, and we are what we think. And time started going on, and I just started feeling really, really overwhelmed. Also, my decline, all of my life, I grew up very, very poor. And but I've always had something, I grew up, government housing, all of that. And I never felt that I was missing anything. Even at my lowest, it didn't feel like my lowest. I felt very complete, very satisfied. And this situation, I started feeling unsatisfied, something that I never really felt in my life. Even through bad relationships, I felt there were redeeming qualities in those relationships, and which is why it was so difficult to leave those old relationships, because I always felt there was something else that I could do to make things better. This time, it just felt like I was really hopeless. Like, there's nothing I could do. And make a long story short, I started realizing through a number of events that took place, that later on I will go more into detail, but it just started clicking. It just can't be, it just doesn't make sense that I'm here. How did I get here? After everything I've been through in my life, like, how can this be the lowest point? And it just clicked. I started looking into the source. I said, well, this person that's telling me that this and that is wrong. That my mind is, this, and that I need help, and that I come from a traumatized background. And I start looking into the source. Like, this source is sort of reflecting themselves into what they're telling me. They come from a traumatized background. They come from a place of a history of mental issues within their family. Their family, is just full of mental issues, a lot of identity crisis and things like that. That I think we all have to some extent, but they really, they're there, and this is not about them. This is about how I fell into that trap, and when I started questioning the source, and I realized, and I went back and I saw a lot of their actions were the ones that kept me down. That's when I realized that it's really not me. It's really not me. And at first you start thinking maybe it's 50-50, maybe. I started realizing it's really not me. And that was my first step to healing a little bit, is realizing that it's really not me. We all have childhood issues and traumas, and we all have gone through heartbreaks, and that's normal. When someone tries to act like that defines you, that's when you start to question that source of like, what's in your interest for me to feel bad, guilty, or feel like I'm not satisfied or accomplished or good enough because of these issues. When you start digging into that source, and you start seeing that a lot of that is a reflection of themselves, it frees you. It's a freedom that you can actually now see that it's not really you. These people have a thing within themselves that they can't become better, so they make you feel worse so that they can feel better. And that's how I was able to sort of break from that situation where I had to leave. And it's sad because we have children and all of that, but I could not be a good example for my children staying in that situation. And I feel like I've gotten myself really together. I'm really, really way better I'm stronger than ever. And now when my plans to re-engage with my children as a stronger person, and just continue to try to give them a sense of normalcy, at least from my end of the spectrum. So it took a while to get here, but I'm putting these journals out for me really to understand where I was and how deep I went down in this dark place. And I've actually documented all of it, from my worst moments to my even worse moments. And what you're seeing right now, this person here, is a reflection of someone that survived those dark moments, that I swam in some dark, muddy waters. And with all the possibilities of drowning any moment, I was able to swim through and get to a place of safety and speak to people that have a better interest in my well-being than what I was surrounded in. And I'm here alive, and I'm here able to tell this story, because I could easily not be here right now. Very, very, the possibilities of me being here right now are probably slimmer than me being here right now. So I'm very grateful that I was able to swim through that, and hopefully I'd never have to swim through those waters again. But just wanted to put it out there. Sometimes that person that we think loves us really hates us. They hate us. And it's so hard to believe that you don't realize it. You don't want to realize it. You can't realize it. But it happened to me. It happened to me. And, you know, for a while I started developing hate back towards this person. When I can't say that I can't say I wish them the best right now, to be honest. But I know they need mental help. And I never tell them that, because just like they did to me, that they implanted ideas in my head, I will never implant ideas in their head, even if I think it's true. That's a journey they got to go through. And hopefully they can swim through whatever water they got to swim through and get to where safety is for them. But just wanted to put that out, because I think there's a lot of people, men or women, that are in relationships with people that we believe loves us, but they hate everything about us. They despise us. They don't think we deserve anything we got. And they're there to share those happy moments with you, when inside they're like, they're hating every accomplishment that you make. Just know, if you're sleeping with the enemy, you got to slowly step away. That's another thing. Don't try to break away, abruptly, because these are people that are very, they have a lot of methods to their madness, and they will make your life a living hell. So you got to realize, if you have a person that's very competitive towards you, that is very, you tell them, hey, look what I did. Look how great, look, I got this award. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to win 2 awards. Or I've done that before. Or they never make it about you. It's always, going back to them. Or every accomplishment you make, they tell you how they've done it better, they could have done it better, or they will do it better. Or they can never relax around you. Instead of saying, hey, yeah, you know what I did today? I took a nap and it was great. They always have to tell you about all these accomplishments they did, almost like this competition. Like, oh, you worked 10 hours? Well, I worked 12 hours. Like, if you have that kind of person around you, that's one of the first flags to be, your partner shouldn't be your competitor. And then on top of that, if they hate you, just because they tell you they love you, doesn't mean they don't hate you. You got to realize that bitterness that they have inside, sometimes maybe they don't even realize it. Maybe they don't even realize they hate you so much. And you got to realize it before they destroy you from within, because they have all your vulnerable sides and they know how to push your buttons. And if you can rest at home because your enemy lives with you, that's exhausting. That's another thing I learned, where now I'm finally getting some rest, and I'm realizing how exhausted I was. So just leaving this here for me to look into the future, for my kids. If you ever see this, just know these are the things I'm realizing. Hopefully you never have to go through this. Hopefully you can see this and recognize these situations and just run away. So yeah.